Hey everybody, welcome to Around the Twist. Episode, I'm gonna say 270 and 271. Still having technical difficulties. In case my eye line is a little bit off, I'm recording on both the phone, hi phone people, and the flip, which is up above. Hi, if you see me looking up here, I'm looking at the flip. If I'm looking down here and connecting with you right here, that's the iPhone. So, technology, honestly, I'm ready to say I give up. Forget it. It's to the point, I think, if the flip dies during this recording, I'm going to have to get a new camera. So a little background. The flip has been shutting off on me while I've been recording. It's been my main camera. I first purchased it in 2009, I believe, so it's 7-ish years old. So, I mean, it's had a good long run. But it's supposed to have a 2-hour recording capacity. There are no files on it. I can't find files on this thing anywhere. I delete each file each week. Like, I keep the previous weeks, record the new ones, and then when I go to upload the new one, I delete the previous weeks. So there's never more than maybe an hour's worth of video on it at any time. Currently, when I first turned it on, it said I had 35 minutes of recording time remaining. I don't know where that hour and a half of recording space has gone on here. So I need to get a new camera, is what it boils down to. I know I got a new webcam that I was recording with for a while, but the computer was acting wonky. So I switched to the flip. The flip's been working great for the last year and a bit, and now it's just driving me nuts. So, oh. And the iPhone, while the quality is better, obviously it's not ideal because the show is not being uploaded to iTunes, and I know a lot of you watch on iTunes. So I'm very, very sorry, iTunes people. And I'm going to try to adjust this. I've got some funky setup for the book, so the angle's a little bit weird. So yeah, it's a knitting show, crafting show, right? Right. Let's grab your coffee, grab your knitting, and let's talk. Why not? So it's been a crazy last couple weeks. I did try to record last week, but let's just say the camera pissed me off. And that's the gist of it. That's why I didn't record. It shut off on me twice, and I just went, screw it. I'm done. I'm done. And walked away. The computer is completely repaired. It was the power source. I was right. Which, suck it, Best Buy Geek Squad. Walked in, told them, hey, it's the power source. It's the same problem I had 2 years ago when you guys changed the power source. And they go, well, we'll have to check it out, do our diagnostics. I said, it's the power source, I'm telling you. They plugged it in, they tried to turn it on, and opened it up and goes, well, I don't see anything melted on the motherboard. I'm going, because it's not the motherboard, it's the power source. And sure enough, they checked it, it's the power source. So I have a new power source, my computer is up and running, huzzah! And I told you guys all this last week. So you're getting 2 shows in one, and I've got a little bit of progress on everything. A little more than what I had last week, so that's a good thing. I've had visitors in town. My parents were here helping while hubby was out of town elk hunting, which is a whole nother story. And now my very good friend Sarah from college, who was, you guys might remember her, she was the maid of honor in my wedding. And she's the twins, one of the twins. She is one of the godmothers of the twins. We have 4 of them. So she's in town visiting now. She hasn't been able to come out to see us for about a year, and obviously we haven't been free to get back to Minnesota to visit her. So here we go, knitting show, right? More coffee. Gosh, I did this already. So, oh, that was the big computer, sorry. I just saw everything go black and I was like, wait, what? I'm losing it. The computer just went to screensaver. It's fine. So, first things first, on the needles, I have my pink, which is Tara's socks. It is, oh, there it is, okay. Still living in my little cupcake bag by Stitch by Jessalou. I have Tara's My Pink socks. It is in Lollipop yarn, in the Some Like It Hot colorway. And it's her Gripe base, which is as I'm showing it to the other camera, it's an 80-20 Superwash Merino and Nylon Blend. And I'm loving it. It's really soft. It's really squishy. I'd love to get more of her yarn, which means I'll have to make another trip up to my sister knits. I finished one tube sock. The pattern is Genevieve's Tube Socks by Jasmine of the Knitmore Girls and Gigi, her mother. They have each their own things. The pattern's $1. It's $1 on Ravelry. Or you can listen, if you go over to the pattern page, they tell you what episode that they list it, that they talk about the pattern, and you can basically get the pattern for free if you're willing to write it down. Or the dollar, what they make off of it, goes into their daughter, Jasmine's daughter Genevieve's adventure fund for any future shenanigans she may get up to. So I thought that was worth it. So I paid the $1, shelled it out. Now the tube socks, obviously there is no heel. No heel. You knit a tube, and they've got both top down and toe up directions. I did top down. So we have the little toe. It's a lovely stretchy rib. And the nice thing is with small children, they grow. They grow a lot. And they grow fast. So by the time you're done knitting regular socks, chances are their feet are too long to comfortably fit where the heel is. So this is perfect. You put it on them and their heel is here. And a month later their heel is out here. It just slides. And the cuff gets shorter as the foot gets longer. I did try this on Tara. It's practically a knee sock on her, and she loves it. So, second sock is cast on. That's all that I've done. And I did this last week, so I haven't touched these in at least a week. So I have the second sock cast on. I haven't even joined it. I'm knitting it on US 1s, a 2.25 millimeter needle. And, excuse me, I'm trying to do their socks in tandem. So while I'm doing them 2 at a time, I am not doing them 2 at a time on the same needle. So basically I've got one sock done for Tara and the second sock cast on. Because I'm also working on Gabe's My Green socks. So this is same pattern, Genevieve's Tube Socks. The yarn is by Friday Studios, which will show up here first and down here second. It is her Monday base in the science fiction colorway. Let me get that up. And this is riding around in my Stitch by Jessalou Jane hat bag. Love these. Gabe picked out which project bag to put it in. There is the yarn. It's kind of pooching out on the bottom, but that's okay. And this is how it's knitting up. It's self-striping. There's not a whole lot of green in it, but Gabe looked at it and went, my green, and that's what he wanted, so here we are. Also knitting on a US 1, 2.25 millimeter needle. Loving it so far. It's not nearly as soft as the lollipop yarn, and that's fine. I like a good harder wearing sock yarn. This is an 75-25 superwash wool and nylon blend. So it's got more nylon than the other one does. And I'm at, let me see, I measured this the other day and then I knit a little bit more on it. I tried to knit during the World Series. Yeah, that didn't happen. Game 7, oh my gosh, go Cubs! Yay! I had to cheer for the Cubs because they were my grandma's, my maternal grandmother's team, and she's not around to cheer for them anymore. So I was cheering in her honor, and her Cubbies pulled it off. She would have been over the moon, as I'm sure every single Cubs fan is. World Series champions, Back to the Future was only off by 1 year. So I'm at about 8 3/4 inches on Gabe's sock, and I have to go to 11, according to the pattern. I'm making them the same length, so that won't take long. One good movie, I should be able to get that done. But again, US 1, 2.25 millimeter needle, and I'm using the larger size. The pattern does come with 2 separate sizes. I'm using the larger size because my kids are toddlers and they're growing like weeds. Went to put a pair of, I just changed out their clothes. Just changed them out to size 5. They turned 3 on Halloween. My kids are 3. Went to change out their clothes to size 5. And like I said, my friend Sarah's visiting and she got them dressed this morning, and she put this pair of size 5 jeans on Tara this morning that were too long by like 3 inches 3 weeks ago. I had to cuff them, and cuff them deep, like that much. They hit the floor at her heels. She has grown like 2 to 3 inches in the last 3 weeks. Oh my God. I'm so screwed when they're teenagers. I really am. I really am, because this is insane. Okay, now I'm going to flip back in my show notes because I didn't write new show notes for this week. I decided to use last week's, but then I did some more work. Disappointing Stripes cardigan. Here we go. That is in here. The pattern is the Playful Stripes cardigan by Alana Dakos. And I'm doing because of, okay, oh God, I just had a moment where I thought I had cut the yarn. Because of a complete and utter, oh, it'll be fine on my part when I bought the yarn. For some unknown reason, I purchased worsted weight instead of the sport weight that it calls for. So through creative math, I am making my toddler daughter, size 5'6" daughter, a 9-month size cardigan. Because that's what my gauge came out to. So numbers wise, using a worsted weight on a US 7, a 4.5 millimeter needle, the gauge came out with the numbers, and I liked the fabric that I got, that I needed to use the 9-month size for the circumference, but I'm using the 6 size for the length, but I'm also adding length because they wanted me to knit the sleeves that I'm on right now. I am knitting these 2 at a time. They wanted me to knit the sleeves once I finish the increases, which I have 1 more increase to go. They want me to knit them out to 11 inches. Tara's measurement from underarm to wrist, she's got Mama's long orangutan arms, 11 and a half currently, or it was when I measured her like a month and a half ago. So just so I have enough length to at least get her through the winter and potentially next fall, I'm knitting them out to 13 inches. So I have 1 more increase to go. And you can kind of see here, there's the cuff. And then from the point where the eyelets are here, that will make the picot edge. From that point up, I have to knit to 13 inches in length. So currently I'm maybe about 6 inches, and I'll have about another inch on with the next increase, and then I'll have to just knit straight up to get the length I need for the arms. And then I'll be able to join everything together, fly through the yoke, do the button bands, seam everything up, and this will be done in plenty of time, right? I can get that done, can't I? No. No, most likely not. And then I still have Gabe's little sweater to do. Why do I do this? Why? Why do I do this to myself? Ah! So, that. And then I have to go even further back in the book, and I don't even know if it's in this book or not, because I changed books, and I don't think... Oh, there it is. The hashtag for Megan, KAL, that was started by Bird-Like Bags after Megan from Cyborg Craft Room passed away. I think it's about 2 months ago now. Maybe a little longer. Maybe it was back in August. Oh my gosh. Losing track of time. So this is in my big Stitch by Jessalou cupcake bag. For size comparison, there's the small. Here's the large. So if you're wanting to know how big these are, there is your size comparison. This holds a pair of socks very nicely. This is a good size for a shawl project, which is what I'm doing. So basically the hashtag for Megan KAL was started by Bird-Like Bags, who was a friend of Megan's, to kind of honor her memory when she passed. So anyone can join in. You use Cyborg's Craft Room yarn, which was Megan's business. And I'm using her Asocolate base, which is a 75-25 superwash merino and nylon blend. The colorway is called Ain't No Party Like a Cyborg Party. And I'm knitting the Trillion by Martina Baim. So there's the colorway, and it reminds me so much of Funfetti cake, only with lots of extra Funfetti in it. And especially when, let me make sure I've got this the right way. There we go. When I knit it up, it just, I love it. It's just so many sparkles and I'll probably gift it when I'm done because it's not really me, but I love it. I love it muchly. The Trillion by Martina Bem, it's one of her 4 Hitchhiker series scarves. So Hitchhiker, Trillion, Magrathea, Lintilla are the 4. And they're all based on basically this elongated garter stitch triangle, which is also similar to my progression shawl that if you'd like to purchase, that's over on Ravelry. Pattern's $4. It's a nice one that, just like this series, you can keep going until you are basically just about out of yarn and then bind off and you're done. So it's coming along. I haven't done a whole lot. I knit on this a little bit the other night while hubby was playing Witcher. And so there's my progress marker. You can see it dangling there. I've done, yeah, like 8 rows. The rows are getting longer. They take me longer to do. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to move my progress marker up so I have it there. And I'm knitting this up different size than the pattern calls for. I think the pattern calls for a US 2, which is a 2.75 millimeter needle. I'm knitting it on a 3.25 millimeter needle because I like the drape a little bit better with the fabric that I'm getting. And then the edging on the Trillion, you can kind of see it's this little, it's this little like fishnetty type thing that's very, the character Trillion in Hitchhiker's Guide is very much an analytical mathematician type. And so it's very constructed, like it's very regimented. I made a massive error in that edging and I saw it right away. Like when I was coming back across the row, I'm like, oh, that's completely wrong. And I had to rip back about a row and a half. Did I do it again? No, it's okay. Oh my gosh, I thought I'd done it again. Okay. So that's happening slowly, but it is coming along. I need to get my button gear on all of this stuff. I find myself coming home and just sitting and staring at my phone or staring at the TV, and like my knitting will be in the bag next to me. I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. I won't even unzip the bag, but it's there, so I feel like I'm doing something. Excuse me. So, pokey things. I did make some progress this week, a little bit. The last time I showed you the Once Upon a Time sampler. Let's see. So the Once Upon a Time sampler by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, I've been working on this for like 2 years-ish now, coming up on 2 years. This is going to be for Tara's room once it's done and framed, and I am finally on December. So the December square, I'm going to pull back so you guys can see this one, and then I'll come in for close-ups, is Hansel and Gretel. So you've got the gingerbread house that has a ton of little specks of color, that's all the candy. There's snow, there's icing, there's Hansel, there's Gretel, there's breadcrumbs, there's so much stitching in this one. I don't know why it feels overwhelming compared to the last two. I feel like October, Cinderella over here, and then November, which was Little Red Riding Hood, I feel like those flew for some reason, and this one's just dragging and dragging and dragging, and I don't know why. It might be because there's so much white. So last time I'd finished the snow on the rooftop and the treetops to the right, and 2 trees on the left. Maybe I'd finished the actual trees. So coming in close here. Let's do the bottom. iPhone people first. Hello. The trees and the grass right below it are done. I finished all of the icing decoration in the middle on the house. The white around the windows, the white of the picket fence, and the actual roof, the dark brown. So that's done. So you can see 2 up here. And so it's going. I mean, that's about 2 days worth of stitching, 2 nap times worth of stitching. Why did it? Okay, that just got twisted a little bit. It's coming along. What can I say? It's there. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. It'll get done when it gets done, and she'll get it eventually. It'll go in her room. So, about 20 minutes, and we've got a little bit of time. So let's move on to various and sundry. Hubby did not get an elk while he was out elk hunting. He did 10-ish days gone. He did shoot an elk, but because of where he has to hunt here, it's not private land, it's public land, so anyone can be there. I'm sorry if anyone's really against hunting. We, family, in-laws, everyone, hubby and I in particular, we don't hunt for sport. We actually hunt for meat. So everything that we hunt is used, whether it's deer, elk, the meat is used. So we're not just going for a trophy hunt. Just thought I'd throw that disclaimer out. Please don't shoot me for being, or chew me out for being on the side of people who hunt for food. So we were planning on using the meat from this elk hunt. It was going to go in the freezer and be part of our family's meals. Yes, I'm an omnivore. So he did shoot an elk, was chasing it down because he had not managed to kill it in a single shot, so was chasing it down to finish off because he doesn't like to see animals suffer. Chased it up onto a plateau, and as he gets up to the top, just hears blam, 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 and he figured it was someone else in his hunting party, and he's like, oh, cool, someone else finished it off for me, so this poor animal didn't have to suffer. Gets up there, sees a truck that is not part of their group, and these 3-4 guys look over at him, and he kind of waves his hand, like, hey, that one's mine, and they just grab the elk and toss it in the back of their truck and drive off. So while he did shoot an elk, he did not bring one home. But it was his first elk hunting trip, so he enjoyed himself, and we'll probably go back next year, but we might be going back as a family instead of just him by himself. So it's been interesting while he was gone. My parents were out here helping me with the kids, so that was very much appreciated. And yeah, so there's that little story for you. Let's see, what else? How about some questions? Any questions thread? Okay, Knickknacks said, hi Karen, been watching your podcast for several years now, really enjoy it. My question is about gifting hand knits to non-knitters. Sorry, I'm trying to see around the camera. I'd like to knit a lace shawl for a relative who's not a knitter. I'm sure she won't be blocking it after each wash. Can you recommend any shawl patterns that do not require blocking to look good? Okay, my first thing with this is with gift knitting, to me, you have to be very careful on who or what you spend your time on. Obviously, you're going to be putting a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of hours, a lot of love into this shawl. If it's not someone who's going to wear it and appreciate it, if it's going to get shoved up in the top of the closet or given to end up in the dog bed or something. I've heard so many horror stories. I've seen horror stories happen. I've had horror stories happen to me. If it's not going to be appropriately appreciated, maybe a nice gift card or something else would be a good choice. If it's someone who is just planning on throwing it in the washer, I don't recommend or even doing a soak in the sink, either one. Probably your best bet, honestly, for me, what I would do, non-knitter who doesn't know how to treat knits, use superwash yarn. Don't use lace weight. And I'd highly recommend Susan B. Anderson's Yowza Way It shawls. They're a worsted weight yarn. They go fast. There is a lacier edged version, but it is a garter stitch shawl. Worsted weight, it's small enough it can be used as a scarf if the person is not a shawl person or you're not sure. I definitely would not recommend doing like an Even Star or some epic pie shawl for someone that you don't know if they are knit worthy or not. So my 2 cents, I'd say go for a heavier weight garter stitch something. Okay? There's lots of options would be my thing, because those shawls actually, if you use Yowza, it's one skein. Yes, you're going to be spending time on it, but garter stitch shawl, it's superwash. You can throw it in the washing machine, and then even in the pattern, Susan B. Anderson recommends throwing it in the dryer to get it to bounce back and be that squish. I mean, she says only like 5 to 10 minutes, not to bone dry, obviously, but I'd say that would be a safer bet for someone that you don't know their knit worthiness and you don't know how they're going to be treating your hand knits. So, and also, if you do decide to do something more epic, once you gift it, it is no longer yours. So if you go to their house and you see it still boxed up, wrapped in tissue paper on a shelf or in a drawer, and they go, oh no, it's so nice, I can't wear it because I'm afraid to wreck it. To me, not knit worthy, because you're not appreciating the gift that I gave you. My friend Sarah still has the first pair of socks that I knit her, and she has darned them so many times, but she can't bring herself to throw them away because, as she said, that's the first pair of socks you gave me. It's sentimental. I still keep them. That's knit worthy. I gave them to her to wear, not to be mistreated, not to be, I don't want to say mistreated, that's the wrong word, not to be just left off and said, oh no, they're too nice to wear. Wear them. That's why I gave them to you. Wear it. But you might have better luck, depending on the climate, again, because a garter stitch worsted weight shawl is not necessarily the best, which I'm not sure where you're from or where your family is from, because your profile doesn't say. So, my 2 cents. I wouldn't go for the epic lace shawl, personally. Take it with a grain of salt. Do what you will. Next one is from M. Hurst. I have an easy question. Any update on the redemption sweater? Oh, yep. Dig up that beast. It's here. It's back in the craft room. Right back there. In a bag. Pretty much since Tara pulled the needles out of it, I got it all put back on the needles, and then I was just like, I can't. And there has to come a time when I have time to sit down and figure out where I was in the pattern, so I'm able to go back to it. Honestly, this sweater seems like it's cursed. I mean, the first one burned up in an oven. My fault. The second one, it took me forever to start it, and then my daughter pulls the needles out of it, and I don't know where I'm at in it, and I give up. It'll come back. I will. Probably when the weather turns colder. It's still mid to high 70s out here in Colorado. It's November 3rd. It's November 3rd. What the heck? What the heck is going on with the weather around here? So, it is what it is. I will work on it eventually, yes. And no, there is no update on it. It's in a bag in the craft room. I'll pull it out eventually. Kind of like my Beck sweater, same thing. It's in a bag up in my bedroom in a corner. Haven't touched it in a few months. So I think that's it. Until next week, hopefully with a camera that continues to work, because yay, the flip stayed on. I don't have to rely on YouTube, yay, or on my phone camera. Huzzah. Until next week, happy knitting.